Hello, everybody. Joe the Lawyer here. Welcome to another episode of Analog Man Cave. All right, we just right recording this. I finished up my Tuesday night game, and I rolled randomly for some stuff and ended up with a genie bottle and three wishes and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I just screwed it up. But it was worked out well. It worked out well. It was kind of fun what they were able to do with that. They didn't try to wish the universe out of existence or anything. You know what I mean? It's a difference between, I guess. Being a 12-year-old and wishing for stuff, that the DM is just going to say hell no and you're going to break my game and they screw them over on the wish spell, and being mature adults, relatively, who wish for normal things to make their way through the campaign. Good news is they got one wish left, so we'll see where it takes them. Anyway, this is our third video. All right, you're watching this the next day. It is probably 1 p.m. or so when you're watching this, if you're watching the premiere of it. And this is the third video on the to-dos for the DM. All right. Now, these last bunch of items, as I stated yesterday, they're more general, but they're important nonetheless. First, and I'll cover how to do this later, but this is definitely I want you to put this in your head as a list of I must do this. I must be able to do this for every game, every campaign. First, have the starting town very well developed. List out all the people by their names and their occupations, even the minor stuff, right? The day workers, things like that. Know the rumors and know all the connections between the important and even the not so important townsfolk. It's going to help you add depth to the place. The PCs are going to be there for a long time. Know it like you know your own neighborhood. Definitely detail the couple local bars that everybody goes to, because it needs to have regulars that the PCs are going to interact with for years, like that show Cheers. Remember Norm and Cliff and all that? So if Cliff ever asks the P, if they get to know Norm and Cliff, if they get to know the regulars of the town, the regulars of the bar, I did this pretty well when I was running my Fandelver campaign. They really got to know that town extremely well. They got to know the kids and everything. And then when the kids were in trouble, it became personal because they got to know the families. And so if Cliff ever asks, Cliff Clavin of your bar, ever asks the PCs for help with something, if you've done your job as a GM well, it's not going to be a mission. It's going to be helping out a friend with something that they're in need of, that you can give them a hand with, right? So, likewise, you need to know the general region around your town pretty well too. Certain landmarks need to be very familiar to the players and the PCs, even though they don't really mean anything in the game. I'm talking about places like Lover's Peak or White Rock or Stewart's Pond or the Old Mine. It should all feel like their hometown. Just like if you guys have a hometown and you have these familiar areas and things that you've been there before, stop there, the places that everybody knows that may not be on the map. That's the sort of stuff that you mention every time they go out on an adventure. It might be a resting place, that on their way back they always rest at White Rock, or go, kids go fishing at Stewart's Pond or something like that. These places become the players' places. And if goblins then infest the old mine, then damn it, it's like a home invasion. It's not an adventure to clear out the goblins. It's personal. Okay? Next, cheat sheets. Always have them. Write up some cheat sheets so you're not always pouring through books. The best cheat sheets have the most useful information at your fingertips, so you're not digging around or trying to have to make up stuff on the spot. I found that definitely have lists of names, random encounter tables. If you're going to use random encounters, they're pretty helpful, just in case you need something really fast. I also like to have treasure tables printed out, sort of like I had to go digging for last night in my 2E game. If roll on the table to see what the gem is worth. I'd rather have had that in person, and I have it somewhere, but I don't know where the hell I put it. So another rule: don't lose your crap that you print out. So have it all printed out, so you're looking at it, and you don't have to tear through the book or make stuff up on the spot. I think it makes most sense. Also, have it for complicated rules. An example like that would be travel times and distances, things you don't memorize all the time, lighting radiuses for various items and spells, ranges for missile weapons, prices for various things in the stores and the inns broken down by inn or store, menus at the regular bars, and stuff that's, like I said, complicated, like how ranger tracking works in second edition. I have one for that as well. Next, you need to have a good, a fair, and a well-developed process for handling PC death. They need to know ahead of time if they die, what's going to happen. Make sure they understand how it works. Especially if, do you do death at 0? Do you do negative X or negative X plus con bonus or something along those lines? You need to tell them, do you do resurrection or not? Reincarnation. what level, if I die, does my PC come back at? What would the starting gear situation be like? Can they play the same class that the one that just died? I don't like this because it's sort of like you're playing your PC who never die. You're just a little bit level impaired because I always bring it back a level below. When they can be inserted into the campaign and vice versa. I mean, do they just appear as if they were always there, or do they have to go back to a hometown? Something along those lines, or maybe they could be a prisoner that they rescued in the mine or wherever you were doing it. Something along those lines. You just as long as the players know ahead of time what's going to happen. I mean, it's kind of traumatic for a lot of people. PC death, especially for younger generations. But nobody wants to die, and if you do die, you want to know what's the process. How do I get out of this? What do I do? What's going to happen? Okay, so have that down so that they know and they're sure they're comfortable with it. I you know what I do too is as soon as someone dies, I have the player instantly roll up new stats immediately mid game. Then they figure out what they want to play and start working on the character sheet. I have them stay at the game table virtually or in person so they can hear what's going on so they don't miss anything. Even though it's meta knowledge for the new PC, I don't want the player to miss anything. That way there's less explaining to do later to the new player. You need to keep excellent notes as a GM. After every game, like I did before, I sit at the table and write down everything that happened. I make sure I jot down especially names of any NPCs I had to create on the spot. And most importantly, I think I note down any ideas or concerns I have for the next session. I found that after a game, especially a good one, my mind is swirling with ideas, like tonight as I'm doing this. If I don't write them down right away, they're gone by the next day. And so for me, the 30 minutes after the game are my most productive for prepping for the next session. I'm sort of in game mode still. I'm in that moment. The creative juices are flowing, so I just roll with it and see what comes out. The last general thing I guess to do on my to-do list is to know how to handle the shit that happens in real life. Focus on the game and not the work stuff or the family stuff in your own life. And you need to know yourself well enough to know if whatever's going on, if it's going to bleed over into the game and sort of wreck game night. And if you think that whatever's going on in your personal life is going to mess up the game, if you're going to be angry or not into it or distracted or whatever, just call off the game. Let the players know. Or maybe let them know what's going on with as much detail as you're comfortable sharing and just leave it up to them. See if they want to listen. Hey, listen, man, I had a lot of shit happen today at work. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not really on. I'll play if you want, but it's up to you guys. And most likely they'll understand and say, cancel. Likewise, though, if someone in the group has a personal problem and needs to bow out, just roll with it. Sometimes somebody shows up to the game though, and they seem distracted, or whatever. You ask what's up, and you find out there's some really big tragedy that happened in their life. They didn't think it would, whatever. They wanted, maybe they needed the game to distract them from whatever's going on, so they decided to show up. But they realized, you realize that they can't really. They're distracted. They can't play. They're a mess. The whole bit. Listen, maybe their mother's in a hospital and it's not looking good, or their pet died, they lost their job, or husband was diagnosed with something. In those situations, I just stop the game. Honestly, just be a decent person, be a decent human being. Even if your players aren't your friends, they're fellow human beings going through some bad shit. So just be there for them. And I just make sure we talk for as long or as much as they want about whatever's going on. The key thing, though, is to listen and not try to share your own tragic, similar thing as a way to show you understand or bonding or understand what they're going through or anything like that. This is more often than not just interpreted as you trying to top the tragedy in some way. Just listen, listen, and listen. Empathize, hold their hand or give a hug if appropriate, and just be a decent person. That's all. Okay, so those are some general do's of DMing that I wanted to touch on here. So the next thing we're going to get into is game prep. Both in general and in person and online. What do you do for game prep? Okay, that'll be the next couple of videos, guys. So thanks very much. Please like and subscribe to the video. Throw in a comment. Just say hi, just for the algorithm, so it boosts the signal and more people listen and watch. Okay, appreciate it all. Take care. Have a good one.